Hey everybody, Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations in Asheboro, North Carolina. Hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. Our project here tonight is we're going to work on this 68 Chevelle, and with our new AMD parts, we're going to take the fenders off and the doors off, and we're going to unbox the doors, and then we're going to put the doors on and put the fenders back on to check alignment before we start attacking the back half of this car. Stay tuned. Okay, here we are with the new AMD door. They're boxed up really well to help for added protection. We'll see how this looks. Well, look at that. Very nice straight door. Always, when you unbox your parts, always make sure you check them, because sometimes delivery, there is damage in the delivery aspect of this. No fault to AMD's, that's for sure, because their parts are fantastic. Look how nice that is. Okay, we're going to finish unboxing the rest of these parts and see where we're going. Stay tuned. Okay, here's half the parts all unboxed. Here's your doors. Look how straight those AMD doors are. And those quarter panels from Auto Metal Direct are very, very good. Nice and straight. And the SS hood. Thanks to Jason Chandler and the guys at AMD. You make a fantastic product. Can't wait to get these doors on tonight. Stay tuned. Take this door off. Now these doors are really heavy because it's still got the glass in it. It's got the vent window in it. I actually left this thing latched. So when I take these off, if you're doing these by yourself, you either get a jack or you can kind of just keep that latched so you can take that off. Half-inch bolt. We'll do the bottom one first. Wherever that one just landed. Hi, little dog. This way the door doesn't fall off on you. So now you can hold that door. Grab it from the handle on the inside, handle on the outside, unlatch it, and there you go. Really that simple. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is whenever you have an old car like this, you can guarantee that these hinge holes are rusty, so I always use a tap. Tap these out so when I have these new bolts in here that I got, they go right in. You don't have to fight them. You won't strip them. You can almost put them in by hand. So we'll be back in a minute to show you what it looks like after. Okay, as we're using this tap, sometimes it'll start getting harder to turn like that. I'll back it off a little bit and then keep going. Because if it gets locked up in there like this, it could break, so you undo it. And see how it goes in a little bit easier. Once it starts to bind up, just back off a little bit to get those metal shavings or that rust that might be in there, or dirt, what have you, and then it'll start going in pretty easy. So don't try to force it, because you could break your tap in there, and then you're in a world of trouble trying to drill that thing out. Make sure it starts easy first. This way you're not cross-threading it, which is another reason why we're doing this, is so you might not know that that bolt is cross-threaded or not. just because of the amount of rust or dirt that might be in there. So always make sure you clean all these holes out every time. You see how much easier it is? Once you tap all these threads, that bolt goes right in there without a problem. And I usually check them all anyway, just to make sure nothing gets hung up. Hey, sweetheart. You don't want to have to fight these while you're trying to put a heavy door on. That's how nice those bolts are supposed to go in. That easy. And we'll do the same thing to the doors, the door side. Even though it's a new door, I still kind of just clean out the E-coat in that also. Okay, we're back on this 68 Chevelle project, AMD Chevelle. We've got brand new hinges here, brand new bolts. I've already tapped the holes on here. This one actually had a burr on it, so I'm glad I tapped the holes. All right, so always get new hinges, or at least repin your old ones before you fit any of your parts, because if you have bad hinges, it's going to be really hard for you to line them up later on. So always get new hinges. And that's how nice those go on. I try to get new bolts also, unless I'm going to do a numbers matching points type of restoration, a concours type of car. I'll try to use the same bolts and hinges so everything's matching. Because sometimes those bolts have special things on the top of the bolt signifying where they go, what they are. So I want everything to match to original as possible. But this car is not going original, so we'll just keep it as that. New bolts, new hinges. Just makes the restoration a whole lot easier. And I always put the door hinges on the door first. One is a whole lot easier. Just try and get that moving hinge piece, that hinge plate, while you're trying to hold a 50-pound door. So it's just easier to do it this way. And I will keep them loose so I can move everything around at a later date. It's just a whole lot easier to do that. Okay, here we are again with the 68 Chevelle. We got the new hinges on, and they're on there pretty loose, so I can move them on the car. Now, there's a reason why I put the door on the stand this way. For those of you that might not know, when you get a new door, you don't want to have to do any body work to it, or very little anyway. So you got the rails that go alongside the door vertically this way, or horizontally this way, okay, as opposed to if you flip the door over in this fashion, what could happen is you could put two dents in the door vertically this way. So that's why I put the door on the stand like I did that one there. You don't want to have to do that body work that you don't have to. I mean, if there was a little dent in the door, then that's okay, but don't cause any dents for yourself. Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations in Asheboro, North Carolina. Just a quick tip for those of you that have never put doors on before. This part of the hinge is for your forward and back. It also will determine how high your door is in the back. That's how you can adjust your door height in the back, and it will also help move your door back if you have a wide gap back here, and move the door forward if you have a tight gap back here. But with the AMD parts that I have, this gap and that body line are mint. I had very little adjustment I have to do on this thing, so, but that's what that is for. This part of the hinge is to move your door out or in on the top or out or in on the bottom. But as you can tell, that thing's pretty good right there. So we'll just adjust this up slightly, get it where I need it. It's almost in the original spot. That's how good these doors are. You snug those up. There you go. Now, as you can see, this needs to come out just a little bit because this is nice down here. This is nice right here, and it's in just a little bit there. This is the main reason why I'll take a door, a new door, and put it with the old quarter panel first. You don't want to have no door on it whatsoever and try and put a quarter panel on, because if you don't align the doors and fenders up and you try to put a quarter panel on without that already being lined up, you could be in for issues later on. So always make sure you put your new panels on first before you tackle something this big. All right, same with the roof. I would have all this stuff on there because you're going to have to replace the roof and the quarters. This has to be right before you can take this off. Okay, that's how I do it. I think that's the most important way to do it. Make sure that gap is right. Make sure this quarter panel is where it needs to be to the door before you remove that. So stay tuned. All right, in the last video I said the top of the door needed to come out. All right, but with further checking, which is why I always double check everything, the top of the door is really nice. It's the bottom of the door that needs to go in, because you want to check the bottom of the door to the rocker panel. And as you can see, it's further out on the rocker panel than it would be up there. So we're going to loosen this up. Again, we loosen up the hinge part to the door, because you can always tap it in. And really loosen that up. There we go. Now we're looking pretty good. A little more fine tuning, we'll be all set. Okay, Kevin here from Harrington Classic Car Restorations in Asheboro, North Carolina. This is my dog, Little Dog. She'll be in a lot of the videos. Now, we got the door on, the AMD brand new door, and that thing fits really, really good. So the next time, we're going to cut this bolt off, and we're going to put new bolts and clips in here, and we're going to put new bolts and clips in all these spots here, so we can fit the fender roughly to the door. And then we'll go to the other door and put the other AMD door on, and then the other fender and the header panel, just so everything in the front is fit. We'll also put on the new SS hood, also supplied by AMD, so we can fit all of that stuff in, and then we can tackle the roof and the quarters. So stay tuned.
Every single day